Lori here. So I'm about to embark on a week-long reading vlog in a sense because it starts Saturday the 21st and goes to the 27th. So we have a week. And it's called VULTURE is Our Opponent. So defeat the web slinging your books for the duration of this battle readathon. You must choose your selected book or use a book that you are currently reading. Your next book must connect to your previous read in some way. Color on cover, genre, words, and title, etc. So there must be some type of connection between all your reads for this week, which I think will be super exciting and fun. I've never really done something like that before. And all linked books can count for double points for Civil War. So I did choose my book before we had to. So I'm going to choose Curse of the Spectre Queen by Jenny Elder Moak. This is like a historical fiction mystery thriller with an Indiana Jones twist. I also think it is set, I think they have to go to like Ireland, I think. So I'm really excited for this, and this will probably be the one that I'm going to start with. And then once I'm done with this, I will see what I want to go to. But I'll figure that out. But I'm going to start this. I'm probably going to put on an episode of Legacies, watch that in the background. We just got back from a walk. We're going to get pizza tonight, so that's really exciting. But yeah, I'm going to start this. I also did finish Enchanted Ink Hex in the City, my audiobook, which was super fun and super enjoyable, and I'm probably going to pick another audiobook for like tomorrow to start. But I'm going to go start this, watch Legacies, and I'll update you guys when I'm about 50 pages in. Bye, friends. I want to do a quick update. It is about 6:34. I did wind up starting The Curse of the Spectre Queen, and I wanted to just give you guys a quick update. I did wind up reading about 60 pages in it. This is a historical fiction Indiana Jones story from what I read, like in the summary. But you basically follow this girl named Sam. She lives in a small town. It's the 1920s. These characters are a lot older. I would say they're not in high school. They're like a couple years older than high school. So age-wise, it would probably be new adult, but I don't think it's going to be new adult. I think it's going to be YA. But Disney has been putting out some adult titles, so it might be sort of that new line that they're coming out with. But so Sam, she is like a book preserver, and she works with a smaller family that has her best friend in it, and she's kind of being like sponsored by them. But when a book comes to her place, she thinks it's connected to this, like, to her best friend's family, and she goes to see them. But this journal and this diary is not what it looks like, and it's actually connected to a guy that she's known when she was a child. And basically someone comes and kind of burns down her store, and she is on an adventure to go see her best friend's brother and figure out what's happening. It's very, very Irish themed, and it's so funny. I just read a book about Scotland really, really recently, and they're going back to Ireland in this book, and it's just great. I love books about books. The last book I read about books was a historical fiction book called Words on Fire, and I like that one quite a bit. But I just like that right off the bat we have a trio of characters. We have Sam, we have Bennett, and we have his sister. So like they're gonna go on this adventure together, and I like it. I'm right off the bat, I'm really enjoying it, and I like that there's like secret sex and stuff, and there's like mystery and intrigue, and it's very, very action adventure-y. But yeah, so at about 60 pages, my goal is to try to stay up a little bit later tonight and read. It is supposed to be like a hurricane tomorrow, so not snowstorm, oh heavens no. But I just want to give you guys a quick update. I've read about 60 pages. I think Sam is a very, very fun character, and I really, really like being in her head. So I'm going to read another, I'll try to get up to page 125, and then I'll give you guys a quick update. So far, really enjoying it. I also did finish watching Legacies. Now my next goal is to finish watching Superman and Lois, so I can be caught up on my TV show for September. So I'm going to go do that, read a little bit more of Curse of the Spectre Queen, and I'll give you guys another update. Bye, friends. Here, it's Sunday the 22nd. We are in the midst of Hurricane Henry. But last night, I did wind up reading about 138 pages in The Curse of the Spectre Queen. I am liking this book. It's very, very action adventure-y, and I'm enjoying it. It does have like a historical fiction twist. The characters are a lot older, but it does have a trio of characters that I'm really liking. My goal is to read a lot today. The only thing I really want to do today is, other than read, is to scrapbook for a little bit, and I'll probably do that later in the day. But yeah, I'm going to go read a little bit more of this. I'll probably get up to page 150, and then I'll give you guys like another update. I also want to catch up on all my TV shows I've not been watching, so I'm going to finish Superman and Lois today and do a couple of other things. My goal is to finish this book today at some point. I also am listening to an older Hannah Swanson book because I fell off that train and I'm listening to it, which I've never done before. I normally listen to them when I go for bike rides and walks, but I don't know if that's going to happen today because of the weather. I just did both my workouts, so it's possible tonight I'll listen to it again, but we will see. But I'm going to go read a little bit more of this and probably get up to page like 150, and then I'll give you guys like another update, just like how I feel. But I really am liking it so far. They're heading to New York City right now, and then they're probably gonna, it's definitely like a travel book. Like there's a lot of locations in here, and the characters are a little bit older, which, you know, I normally do like. It sort of reminds me of reading like a Regency romance just set in the 1920s because the characters are quite a bit older. So I'm gonna read this. I'll read a little bit more and then I'll give you guys an update. Bye, friends. I just wanted to do another check-in. I did wind up, it's about 10:30. I did wind up getting up to page 202 and Curse of the Spectre Queen. The story is so interesting. Like, I really am enjoying it. It's been a bit since I read like a pure adventure story, but this character is kind of adventuring all over. They're trying to figure out what happened to her shop because she got a book, and when she got that book, her shop was burned down. So they're basically on this very, very cross-country adventure, and now they're in Ireland, and they're trying to figure out what is happening to this book and who really is the bad guy. And I love stories when the bad guy isn't always clear. That's definitely the case in the story. I do love the time period. I've been reading a lot of like Regency romances recently, and I just read Pride and Premeditation, which was another historical fiction mystery, which is definitely what I would classify this as, but it is set, some of it's set in Ireland, which I just think is a fun setting. I really like the main characters. There's also a trio of characters in here. They are a little bit older, and I think Disney has been doing that a bit more recently. Like, they have some adult books coming out, but I do like this one a lot. I think it's very, very different. There is some magical and potentially supernatural elements that will probably get cracked into the end of the book, but I'm really enjoying it. I also finished watching Superman and Lois. I'm going to now try to watch the whole rest of the Walker Texas Ranger today, but I will update you guys when I probably read about like, maybe like I want to read about 100 more pages. We'll see, maybe like 50 more, we'll see. But I really am liking it. I'm happy that I finally picked it up. I also do have to figure out what I want my week to be, what books I want to read in order, because for this reading challenge, every book you read has to be loosely connected to the next book, and you can kind of choose your own connection point, but then you can't repeat them. So I'm kind of thinking of doing another Indiana Jones inspired story because that's how this one was pitched to me. So I think I'm going to do that one next, but so far I'm really, really liking it, liking the main character a lot. And I like that it's focused on reading and books and book restoration, because that's something that I really do like in my works, and I always collect them, but I never get around to reading them. I didn't know that that was basically a plot point in this, but I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye, friends. Here, I'm going to take a little bit of a reading break. I got up to page 222 in The Curse of the Spectre Queen. I'm really intrigued to see where this story is going to go. There is a lot of players in this story, like a lot of characters, and we're only in Sam's point of view. So sometimes you do feel a little bit disconnected from the other characters in the story, but I am really liking it, and I hope to finish this today. But I'm going to take a little bit of a reading break and scrapbook. I haven't scrapbooked in a few days, and I'm trying to do a 30-day challenge before I head back to work. So I'm going to scrapbook for a little bit, probably watch something that I haven't seen before, and I'll talk to you guys when I'm ready to start reading again. Bye, friends. Back. It is about 1:30. I did wind up reading to page 252 in The Curse of the Spectre Queen. Really liking this book. It's definitely very interesting. I think some of the elements, like the villain, it was a little bit predictable. I sort of saw it coming, but it's very unique. Like, the myths and the mythology are really, really fun, and I haven't read anything about Irish mythology in a while, or ever really. So I really do like that part of it. I think that it's a very, very fast-paced adventure novel. I think you get a lot from Sam, the main character, but there are a lot of other characters in the story, and I think would be equally fascinating to be in their point of views. There was a little bit of pacing stuff, and like stuff happened super quickly, and I think it could have been expanded on a little bit. But other than that, it's probably like a 3.75 star read right now. I'm really curious how it's going to wrap up. I'm also watching Walker Texas Ranger because it's been so long. One of my characters is in a little bit of peril right now, but I will kind of update you guys when I get up to page like 300 and see where we are time-wise. My plan was to finish this today. and maybe finish my short story collection, which means I'm going to have to just start 2 rows, which will get a little bit complicated, so I'm going to have to make some notes about what paths I'm using in each of these stories. But I'm going to read a little bit more, and I'll check in with you guys when I read about 30 more pages, or 50 more pages. Bye, friends. Just checking back in. It's about 3 o'clock. I did wind up getting up to page 300 in Curse of the Spectre Queen. It's very, very interesting. I'm not saying I feel like super connected to all the characters, especially Sam. I like Sam. I think she's interesting. I'll be curious to see if this is like a series and we'll see more of her, because I do like her. I do like the setting. I think it's very interesting take on like mythology stuff. There are a couple of things that I think are a little bit like I've seen them before, so it's not like a drastically new type of story, but it is like sort of like Indiana Jones, and you don't see that nearly enough. I like that I like that the characters are just a little bit older than what you normally see. It kind of reminds me of reading like a Regency romance in a sense. Like that's sort of what it reminds me of a little bit. I do like it. I think it's fun. I'm probably just gonna tackle the rest of it, and then I'll chat back in and see what I'm gonna read next, because I have some options. But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm probably gonna read the last 50 pages. I'll check in with you guys. I'm also watching Walker. I have a bunch of episodes left, so that's probably what I'm gonna do for today, and just wait out Henry, which is what I was gonna do anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna go finish the last 50 pages of this, and then I'll give you a final check-in and give you guys my final thoughts. Bye, friends. Here I'm back. I did wind up finishing The Curse of the Spectre Queen. So this is the way this read-a-thon is going to work. You're going to finish a book, or I'm going to finish a book, and then I'm going to tie it to my next read in some capacity. So overall, I really did enjoy this book. I don't think it wowed me. I think it definitely reminded me of Regency romances. I really liked the elements of the story, the gods elements, like the adventuring. It definitely did scream sort of an Indiana Jones inspired story. I like that it was aged up a bit. The characters were a lot older than I normally read in YA. So this was sort of a fun read. So connecting it to my next read in this link, I'm going to read The Undying by Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. And the connection I found between these two stories is they both said they were sort of loosely inspired by Indiana Jones. So my next read will be The Undying. I will pick this one up next. But I do want to finish reading my Cursed Carnival anthology, which will just start another link. It will get a little bit complicated. But I can't connect that to this link. I can't figure out how to do it. So I'm going to pick that one up. But then I will hopefully be able to start Undying tonight. This is the sequel to Unearthed, which I read so long ago, and I just never got around to reading this one. But again, this is a really, really short book. It's just over 300 pages, so I can probably finish this within today and tomorrow. But I am going to go read The Cursed Carnival, and when I'm done with those two stories, I'll give you guys an update, and then we'll sort of talk through the end of that link. So, talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye, friends. Last night, I did wind up finishing The Cursed Carnival and Other Calamities, which is a short story collection from all of the Rick Riordan Presents authors. They all wrote like a subsequent story. I think I enjoyed it overall. Some of the stories I wish I would have read the actual books that connected to them, because I think that they were a little bit too tied in, and I was a little bit confused, especially Tristan Storm and Sal and Gabby Breaks the Universe. I really liked Rick Riordan's story where he wrote about Irish mythology, because that's the type of mythology I've never read anything about. And I hope in the future we get a book series about that, because it was very, very interesting. But I really enjoyed them all. Like, they were very, very, very fun, quick takes. And now we'll start a different link tree. And if I have some time this week, I'll probably read a mythology-themed book. Not Rick Riordan Presents, because I think I read the whole of them. But one about A Twisted Tale, which is about Hercules and Meg. So that will probably be what I'm going to do. It's another day of raining, which is going to kill a lot of my, like, grand plans to go for a bike ride and read, but still read, which is nice. But I'm gonna probably start The Undying. I have to go to physical therapy. I have to run an errand to the library, drop off some books, so do a few little things. So that is the plan. I'm probably gonna come home, work out probably, because I have a workout I kind of need to do. I think I'm gonna reverse my schedule a little bit, because it looks like it's gonna pour all day again. We're just getting the after effects of Henry. We didn't really have Henry to a massive degree, but our power keeps flickering in and out, so it's possible we'll lose power today too. I hope we don't. But I am going to start The Undying. I love this. I've never seen this in a book before. but they wrote like a summary. I think I did see this in Aurora Rise and Aurora Burning, but they write a summary of all the stuff that happened in the previous book, and I really appreciate that because it's been so long since I read any other books, since I read the series. So I'm gonna get ready to go for my physical therapy appointment for my neck. Probably might be my last one. I might do one more before I go back to work, but I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, friends. Right here, I'm back. I feel like we're back in fall because it's so wet and rainy and so cold. But I did end up going to physical therapy. I listened to about an hour more of my audiobook. I've got an hour left if you listen to it on double speed. I really am liking it. It's the Joanna Fook mystery. I'm unsure if I'm going to count that towards this reading challenge because I wasn't planning on reading it, but I realized I have fell so far behind on that series. Again, they're fun. I mostly read it for like the characters, not really the mysteries. The mystery in this one I'm intrigued enough by because it's about a character I like. So I'll keep listening to it. It's very, very fun, but I fell like I'm like 6 books behind in that series and I'm about to head back to work. And they can be like just a little bit for like easier for like commutes and stuff because I can listen to them pretty quickly. But I have not started Undying yet. I like started the introductory letter to Undying, which I think more books should do. Honestly, it's a great refresher for me because it's been so long since I read it. My goal is to finish this whole thing today. It's only 300 pages, and I do have a bunch of stuff to do. I do want to scrapbook a little bit later because I'm trying to do a 30-day challenge for scrapbooking. And I would like to, I'm actually going to see the person that scrapbook is for tomorrow, so I'd like to get a little bit of work done. So I'm probably going to read for a little bit, get some lunch, scrapbook, and then work out, and then like go back to reading for the rest of the day. So, but when I make a little bit of progress on Undying, I'll probably update you guys. But so far, I've read about a paragraph. So I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye, friends. A couple of quick updates. I did end up finishing the Coconut Cream Cake Murder by Joanne Fuca. I'm not sure if this is actually going to be in this like vlog, but I did finish it. It was actually very, very fun. I actually bought the second one, which is a Christmas murder, but I bought it anyway, so I'm excited to kind of keep going with that because I'm really far behind on that series. But I also did read about the first 50 pages in Undying by Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This is a direct sequel to Unearthed, but this book is basically the characters. One is a posh, like, intellectual. He's like, he's like very into history, and then one is a scavenger, and they sort of got sent to this planet to sort of uncover what was happening. But their roles, their reasons for being there, the person that hired them was not on the up and up. And at the very end of the book, they start thinking that the Undying is not what they thought it was. And now they're in a race to kind of get back to Earth and tell the people on the Earth what the Undying really is. So that's sort of where they are. I'm enjoying it so far. It definitely was a slow start, but I did really like the first one. So I'm also watching Walker, Texas Ranger. But yeah, so I'll probably read another like 50 pages and then I'll give you guys another update. But I do like both characters. This is another dual point of view story, and I tend to like those a lot. There was a little bit of romance at the very, very end of the first one, but it does have major Indiana Jones vibe. But this one is in space. So I'm going to read a little bit more, and I'll give you guys a check-in when I can. Bye, friends. Right here. It's about 7:23. Today was just not my best reading day. I was a little bit distracted, and I did finish a book, though, but I didn't, like, read nearly enough of this book as I wanted to, and I was just a little bit distracted. But I did end up getting about 100 pages in. The more I'm getting into the story, the more that I'm liking it, because it's a very different type of story than I've really ever read before, especially science fiction based. Normally you have like one set story about science fiction and you have this ragtag bunch of heroes that are trying to save the world from, or like the galaxy from, like a government that is not cooperative. This is like a very different type of story. I'll say that right off the bat. Like, they're on the verge of a war, but the war is not here yet and no one's really listening to them. I do really like both characters. I do. But yeah, I just had a very, very weird reading day, I'll be honest. It wasn't my best reading day. But I hope tomorrow will be a little bit better, and I am actually going out tomorrow. I'm going to meet my little niece and nephew that I haven't seen since they were born. That will be super nice. I also started another audiobook, so I might finish that tomorrow if I have a little bit of time. But my goal for tomorrow is to definitely make some progress on this. But that is the plan. So I am going to sort of go. I also did finish watching all of my CW shows from the past season. The only one I've not started is Stargirl. Walker Next to Stranger was really good. I know I know people aren't the biggest fan of that show, but that show has like all of my favorite actors in it. It has Keegan Allen, it has Jared Padalecki, it has Lindsay Morgan, so it has all of my favorite actors in it. And I really like it. I think it's a really, really fun show. So I was happy that I got to finish that. But now I have to like go look through Hulu, which I haven't looked at in so many months, and just sort of start going through those. And that will be my project for tonight and tomorrow. So I will let you guys go, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow. I also like slept later tonight, like today, which I never do. I like slept past 6:45, and I think it just kind of threw me for like a loop. But I'll check in with you guys tomorrow when I read a little bit more of the Undying. We'll touch base. Bye, friends. Alright, here I'm back. Today started off to be a very, very exciting day. I was going to get to meet up with people, but I have learned whenever I make plans, they always change. So today we won't be meeting up with people. I'll be staying home and probably reading my book and finishing it. But I did wind up getting up to page 124 in The Undying by Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. I am really liking this book. I definitely think I'm enjoying this setup a little bit more than the first book in the series, but it's a very different take on like a sci-fi novel because the government is still in place and they're just not like listening, and I think that's like something I haven't read enough. I don't read a whole lot of science fiction, I'll be very, very honest, but I do like Amie Kaufman and Jay Kristoff's writing, and so is Megan Spooner. They're probably like my two favorite science fiction authors that I read pretty much yearly when they come out with new books. I do like the two main characters. They are back on Earth, which is definitely different than the first book in this series. So yeah, I'm very, very much enjoying it. But yeah, I'm probably going to read like another like 25 pages. I'm also making my way through my Hulu queue. So I'm on Call Your Mother, which is a very, very fun like comedy that I just never got to watch the episode. So that is my plan for today, is just to sort of relax. I do want to go for a bike ride today at some point. I do want to scrapbook. I have a Google Meet, like a Skype meetup that I'll be able to actually attend now that I'll be home. But yeah, sometimes fate just throws your day in a different direction, and that's okay. But I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye, friends. It is about 2:07. I'm going to actually go for a bike ride because it's been so wet and rainy here that I haven't actually got to go for a couple of bike rides in the past couple of days. But I wound up getting up to page 185 in The Undying. I'm really enjoying this book quite a bit. I think I'm even liking it more than book one, and I read book one so long ago. I just really, really like the characters. I've always liked Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner's writing style. I think that they write really sort of unique science fiction stories. Again, I've said this before in a previous clip. I don't read a lot of sci-fi, but I do like the story quite a bit. It's very, very quick paced too, and I think it's very different from book one, but also like really impactful. It's just a very different type of story. I really like the main characters as well. So I'm gonna go for a bike ride and, listen to a couple of podcasts and stuff that I've been like putting off listening to. And my goal is to finish this book today. I do have a Google Meet at 8 o'clock tonight that I'm gonna go to, which we do every single month. And I'm actually, I'm not happy that my niece had a fever, but I'm happy that I can actually go to the meeting because I didn't think I was able to attend this month. So I'm gonna go for a bike ride. I'll check in with you guys when I come back, and we'll chat base. I also finished watching Call Your Mother, which is like an ABC comedy. I don't know if it got renewed again, but I thought it was very, very fun. It starred it just starred a couple of like Kira Sedgwick and Joey Bragg and Sherry Som. I think that's her name. So I really like that one. I'm catching up on The Good Doctor, which I am ridiculously far behind on. I'm like 11 episodes behind on that. So that'll probably take me a couple of days to get to, sorry, there's a train, to get through. But I will update you guys when I'm back from my bike ride. I'm probably going to read in the park for a little bit, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye, friends. It's about 6:32. I did wind up reading to page 260 in The Undying. I'm really liking this book quite a bit. I think I definitely prefer this to the first book in the series. It's a very unique, to me, type of like science fiction story. Again, I've said this before, I don't read a whole lot of science fiction, but I'm enjoying this quite a bit, and I think I'll probably add it to my listening queue so I can reread the first one. But I really am liking it. This book is not as much as Indiana Jones as the first one was. This one is more like best friends have to save the day, I'll say that. But it's just very interesting. Like, it's a very interesting take on the science fiction story, and I'm really liking it. My next read will be their next story that's a little bit more like, came out more recently. but I'm really liking it. I still love them two characters. We also got to meet a new character, well, actually 3 new characters in the story that I'm also really, really enjoying all their dynamics. It's a very, very quick read. Like, I'm already most of the way through with it. I'll probably finish this tonight. But I'm really, really liking it. And again, I'm really happy that I actually picked it up. It's been on my TBR since, let's see, when did this book come out? Because I can tell you when I got it when it came out. I got this book in 2019. Okay, so not that long ago. But I'm really happy with it. So I'm going to go tackle the rest of it. I do have a Google Meet that I'm going to go to tonight, like 8, I think, with one of the podcasts that I follow, MuggleCast and Millennium. So I'll go to that and see. I love those meetups because, like, it's people from all over the world, and, like, you just kind of get to see, like, a little bit of their life and their world, and I think that's really, really interesting. But I'm going to go finish the rest of this, and I'll talk to you guys when I'm done. Bye, friends. It is Wednesday, the 25th. I did want to do a quick update. Last night, before my book, for my meeting on Zoom, I wound up finishing The Undying by Megan Kaufman and Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. I really enjoyed this story. I thought it was a very, like, fun take on science fiction. Again, I keep saying this. I don't read a whole lot of science fiction. I literally read 3 authors of sci-fi, so it's definitely a genre that I don't read a lot of. But I found the take of the story to be really, really fun. I liked both the characters. I would wind up giving this one, like, 4 stars for review. It was super fun. I think I actually like this story better than the first one. The first one was more Indiana Jones, and this story was more focusing on Save the World. But I did really like it. The ending was a little bit rushed, I thought, but other than that, I really, really liked it. So the next book I am going to pick up in connection to Undying for my Avengers reading vlog is The Other Side of the Sky, which is also by Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. So they are linked because they are written by the same exact authors. I don't know much about the story, to be brutally honest. I know it follows Prince North, and Nim. She is a goddess. So you have a prince and a goddess, and I'll read the back. A living goddess searches for the skies, desperate for hope. A crown prince falls to the earth looking for answers, both destined to save the world or destroy them completely. That sounds really, really cool. And I have not picked this one up yet. This was one of the books that I think that we got right during the start of the pandemic. So I know that they stopped doing book signings because obviously Amy's in Australia. But I'm super excited to pick this one up and hopefully make some progress on it today. I've also gone down a very, very bad YouTube hole, so I was really distracted last night, and that's all that I did. So I'm trying to be a little bit more focused. But I am pleased to report that I did this. I also started listening to another Joanne Fuqua book, and I'm listening to podcasts and also a book about creativity because I'm heading back to work in a couple of weeks, and I have not been feeling super creative. So hopefully that book will inspire me a little bit. But I'm going to go do all my morning stuff, journal, and all those good things. And I'll update you guys when I'm ready to start The Other Side of the Sky. Bye, friends. Back in. I get to sit outside today, which is super nice and super exciting because it's been kind of very, very hot and very, very muggy. But I did wind up reading the first, 50 pages in The Other Side of the Sky by Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. I really am right off the bat, I've always liked their writing style, but it's also, it's a unique type of story that I don't think I've ever read before, but it's definitely science fiction, I'll say that. I thought maybe before when I was reading it was fantasy, but you basically follow 2 characters. So you follow Nim, who's basically seen as her town or country's goddess, and she has limited things that she can do. No one can touch her, because if someone touches her, something bad happens. I've only read 1 chapter from her point of view, but she's sort of dealing with that, and she has to try to get away from where she lives because something is wrong. That's the point of view that we got. And then the other point of view is a character named, oh god, what's his name? I think it's Noah. Is it Noah? Or North? Oh no, it's North. And he's a prince in this other country, or land, I guess. And they're very concerned about climate change, from what I'm understanding. And he has this idea that can basically figure out how to save their land, because once their land is on it has mechanisms that help move it, but when the land stops moving, their environment will get overrun by water, sort of what might happen in Florida or California one day, or Hawaii, all those places. But there's also like a polyamorous relationship in here that I don't think I've ever read before. And like right off the bat, I'm really liking the way that that's like explained. And um since he's a prince, that's, you know, that's put very, very bad upon. And he's from a polyamorous relationship. Like, he is the prince of a polyamorous relationship. It was outed that his mothers were in a polyamorous relationship, and that's how he was born. But his whole goal is that he wants to fly to this other place to figure out how to save his, like, the machinery in his island. So I've only read 2 chapters, and I think I got all that information right. I've only read 2 chapters, so I will correct myself if throughout this reading vlog I'm wrong. But I really am liking it so far. Definitely intriguing. I like both the characters a lot. They haven't met. I'm sure their paths will cross a little bit. And there is a cat in here, and I have a strong thing about animal pets. So I really, really like this book so far. It will definitely work for the Avenger Reading Challenge. It will probably work for a holographic cover, which I'm really excited about. But I'm going to get back to reading and watching some Good Doctor, which I'm so far behind on. And I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Bye, friends. I'm going to do a quick update. Last night, I did wind up dyeing my hair. You really, really can't see it. If I'll set up maybe later and I'll show you. But it has like a bluish tinge to it. It's a little bit lighter than the last color that I got, but we couldn't find darker hair dye. But I do like it. I think it looks super fun. It looks much better in person than it does on camera. But, so last night, I did wind up reading about 125 pages of The Other Side of the Sky by Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. That book I really am enjoying. Like, it's definitely science fiction. There is like 2 worlds. There's a prince who is from the upper world, and then there's a goddess from the lower world. The goddess can't touch anyone, and the prince's world is basically dealing with a lot of climate change elements. And his plane kind of gets sucked into the underworld, and he's trying to get back up, but they're both holding like some secrets. Really liking it. I read about 125 pages of that. I also went for a bike ride. It's been like so hot the past couple of days, but I don't want to stay in my house because I know when it gets to be like really, really winter, I'm gonna be like craving to be outside. But I did wind up catching up on The Good Doctor last night. I watched like the last like 7 episodes of that season. Really enjoyed the last 2. One of my characters left like unexpectedly. Like, I just was not paying attention, so I would have known that if I like was paying attention to the news as it was occurring. But really excited for season 5. I think we're on season 5 now. Today I'm gonna make This Is Us my focus because again, I'm just trying to get caught up on all of my TV shows and make a list of all the shows I want to watch this year, like keep up to date on, because it's a lot and I tend to get very, very overwhelmed. And I really have horrible work-life balance. It actually has gotten a lot better since the pandemic because I have like forced myself to like, you know, leave work at 3 o'clock and not work off the clock and do a couple of little things. But my schedule is going to change a little bit this year, that it's not going to be the same as it was last year, which is fine. So I'm just trying to keep track of work-life balance, and of course still make YouTube videos because I really like doing that. But I'm probably going to try to film a little bit more in the next couple of weeks so I could have some videos pre-filmed. But yeah, so I'm going to go start reading. I'll keep reading and watch a couple of episodes of This Is Us, and then I'll check in with you guys again. Also, my read-a-thon for the Avengers Reading Challenge, it does end tomorrow. But my goal is to make some significant progress on my read. But I'll talk to you guys when I read about 50 more pages in the Other Side of the Sky, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, friends. I want to do a quick update. It is about 3 o'clock. I did wind up reading up to page 225 in The Other Side of the Sky by Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. I'm really liking this book. The one thing I do like is that it's sort of like a combination between a science fiction story, like it's just a regular science story that's very, very climate change based, a very, very typical world with a king and a queen and stuff like that. But then you also have this other side of the story that's like very, very magic based, and that's where Nord and Nim's characters have to connect. I'll be curious to see how those 2 worlds sort of interconnect and how these 2 characters interconnect. There's also like elements of Nim's story that are really interesting, like no one can touch her because that sort of dissipates her magic, which I really am liking. And I think it's just very, very fun. I've always liked their writing style. I will continue to. I also did finish watching 2 episodes of This Is Us, but yeah, so I'm gonna go take a little bit of a reading break, work out, do some crafting, and when I'm ready to start reading again, I'll give you guys another update. Bye, friends. So here I'm back. It's Friday, so Friday is my day that I do a bunch of my errand stuff. I'm going to do a bunch of filming. My goal is to get ahead on the filming because I'm heading back to work in about 2 weeks, so I want to ease myself into September, and I have a couple of videos that I know I want to film. So I'm probably going to prep film a little bit, do all my other errandy stuff like my blog and my Instagram, all like the I mean, it's fun for me to create content, but it's just a lot of work. So I'm going to do that. I also didn't read a lot last night. I did watch a couple of episodes of Turner and Hooch and Monsters, Inc. and stuff like that, but I've just been a little bit distracted, so it's just also been super hot. So my goal for today is to not fall asleep so early. And read a little bit more, but I want to get I have to do a book haul and a couple other little things. So I'm going to go do that. When I'm ready to like be here and read for y'all and talk about what I'm reading, I'll definitely update this reading vlog. I'm probably going to end this reading vlog today as well because it is the end of the Avengers reading challenge as well. I have a couple of other little things I must do, so I'm going to go do that, and I'll check in with you guys when I'm ready to read and relax for the rest of the day. Bye, friends. Right here, I'm back. It's actually nice enough to sit outside, which I'm really, really happy about. Sorry, I was filming before and my hair got a little bit messed up. But I did want to say that last night I got up to page like 226 in The Other Side of the Sky. Really, I'm liking this book. The boss battle actually does end tonight, so my goal is to finish the rest of this book today. We'll see. I also am watching This Is Us. I didn't get to watch nearly enough episodes yesterday, so my goal is to try to make some progress on that as well. But I'm going to read. I also did film some videos this morning, so I'm actually prepped, and I mean, I pre-filmed a bunch of stuff, so I just have to do like the wrap-up and stuff, but I don't want to do that until like next week because I still might read. I know I'm going to read more this weekend, so that will definitely affect my TBR, and I don't want to like pick books that I'm going to wind up reading this weekend, so that might actually happen. So I'm going to go read about 50 more pages in The Other Side of the Sky, and then I'll give you guys a quick update about my progress, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Here I'm back. It's about 2:40. I just wound up going for a bike ride. I also was listening to my holiday-themed Christmas mystery, which I'm only reading because it's in a series, and I know that if I don't listen to it now, I will probably forget during Christmas time and still be super behind on the series. It's very, very fun. It's one of the Hannah Swanson books. It's so funny, like, reading those books, like, now, because I see, like, the problems with the writing style much more now that I've read a couple of more, like, cozy mysteries, and it's, like, literally, like, something happens, it occurs, and then she explains the exact situation to somebody else, and it just gets, like, a little bit repetitive, but I like the characters. I just don't really like the writing style. This one is a little bit different because it's not necessarily a murder, and it happened in the past, so, like, all the dynamics are a little bit different. I am liking it. It's definitely not my favorite series, but at this point, I'm committed. I've read 27 books. I might as well just keep reading them, and they're really, really fun listens. I never really listened to them before. I've always, like, read them, so that might be a change that I make. But I did wind up getting up to page 306 in The Other Side of the Sky. I am really liking this book. Again, this is another book that has a lot of different environments that the characters sort of travel to. I like that it's dual perspective. It's really, really enjoyable. They also did dive into the polynormers relationship a little bit in Nim's chapter with North, so I like that. I think that's really, really just different. It's not like a different type of thing that I've ever really seen before. But I'm really liking it, so I'm going to keep reading. I'll probably update you guys when I get up to page 350 and see where we are. But I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye, friends. Here, I just want to do a quick update. I did wind up getting up to page 360 in The Other Side of the Sky. This book definitely has a lot of unexpected twists and turns that I don't think I would have predicted at the start of this book. There's a lot happening in this story, and I really am intrigued. It's definitely very much like a two-person story, which I don't always love because I feel like I miss like side characters and other things. But we did get like characters throughout this book, but it really was very, very focused on Nim and North. Their relationship is really interesting, and I just think, again, it reminds me a little bit, like, the dynamics of the story remind me a little bit of Warrior of the Wild by Trisha Levisera, because it really is a breakdown of, like, you know, what fate is and what what they're believing and what their whole thought is, and how that really is, like, not necessarily true, and I do like that a lot. But again, it's very much like a two-person story. So sometimes those are not my favorite, but I am liking it enough to keep reading. So I'll probably give you guys an update when I get up to page like 400, and then we'll see what time we are at. But I'll give you guys an update when I read about 50 more pages. Bye bye. Slowly here and back. I did actually wind up finishing the other. Oh, sorry, I have other things in here. The Other Side of the Sky by Amie Kaufman and Megan Soon. This cover is so holographic. It's crazy. But I did wind up reading it, and then I like reread the last 50 pages because I was rushing, and I'm trying to stop myself from rushing. I did really like it. I would probably give this book 4 stars for review. I like both characters. I thought it was super fun. There is like a reading, there's like the end of the reading challenge tonight, so I'm probably going to read Heartstopper Volume 2 because it has 2 people on the cover, and that is like you can connect your reads that way. But I like this. I wound up giving it 4 stars. So what I'm going to do, it's like 7. So I'm probably going to kind of organize my my reading planner for the read-a-thon that I'm a part of, and just try to kind of note down the books I'm going to read next and kind of make all those decisions, just because I will forget if I don't do it. So that's sort of my next plan, is to sort of like look up what type of books I have in my TBR and kind of connect them, just so I kind of have an idea. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing that, and then when we start reading sprints, I'll come in and check in with you guys, but I think I'm going to read Heartstopper Volume 3. So when I'm ready for all that, I will check in with you guys, and we will chat about that book. But talk to you guys in a bit. Bye, friends. Just want to do a quick update. I wound up going through all those prompts. It's really hard to sometimes find some of the prompts, so I might like go to the library with a couple of the more complicated ones and see if a librarian can help me. But I was trying to pull most of the books from my TBR, but I did wind up making a bit more progress. I'm on page 81. Or percent 81 in my Heartstopper volume. This is the one that I really like it. I like both Charlie and Nick as main characters. I think Nick is definitely my favorite, but I just think it's a really interesting take on the story. I don't read a whole lot of stories with gay characters in them. I just don't like, not that I tend to read a lot of high fantasy stories, and those are the characters I just don't see a lot, but I really am liking these two. I know that it's being made into a Netflix series, but I'm also trying to get really good, much better at reading more diversely. So I'm going to read this and then check in with you guys. It's probably going to go for the whole evening, and then tomorrow I'll start a new reading vlog with you guys. I don't even know what I'm going to read. Honestly, it really just depends on how long this reading sprint goes, and if I finish this, I might pick up something else for this read-a-thon. If not, I'll probably start a reading vlog tomorrow, so I don't know. It just depends how long it's going to take me, but I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, friends. Here I'm back. It's about 10:20. I did actually wind up finishing Heartstoppers Volume 3. Really did like that book. It did involve a trip to Paris. It also dealt with some more hard topics like mental health issues and cutting and other things, which I really did like in that book. Probably give that book 4 stars. I doubt I'm gonna finish this book, but we have to connect it to our next read. So Heartstopper is a 1-word title, so the next book I'm gonna pick up is Fresh by Margaret Wood, and this is a loose Emma Woodhouse retelling. So I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna be up till midnight reading because they're doing reading sprints, and I really do like this reading challenge, but I doubt I will finish this or get anywhere close, but if I can get through like 50 pages, I'll be really happy with it. So I'm gonna go read, and I'll talk to you guys probably at midnight when I wrap up this reading vlog officially, but talk to you guys soon. Bye, friends. Lori here. I just want to do a quick update and say what I wound up finishing for the Voltron battle and how I actually did. I actually, between reading and listening, did wind up completing quite a few books, so let's get into it. The first book that I finished for this thing was The Curse of the Spectre Queen by Jenna Elder Moak. This was like an Indiana Jones retelling set. I think it was set in like the 1920s or the 1930s. But it had a lot of travel elements. It was a very, very fun, fast-paced read. I did like it. It was set mostly in Ireland, which I enjoyed. It had some mythology elements tossed in, and I liked it. I wound up giving this one 3 stars. And then the next physical book I read was also an Indiana Jones retelling, and that is The Undying by Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This was a book that was a sequel to Unearthed that I read quite a few years ago. This would not be what I was pitched as, like Indiana Jones, but the first book was. But it was a concluding novel to a series. I liked it. I thought it was there was a really, really fun take on science fiction. I haven't read a whole lot of science fiction. in recent years. But I like this. I did like the characters quite a bit. It was a fun romance, and it was super enjoyable, and I wound up giving this one 4 stars. And then the next physical book that I read, because was the link, because all your books you read had to be links. You had to link them. So the next book that I read linked to that one was also the Other Side of the Sky by Amie Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This is their newest one. I think out of all of these, I think this book out of all of their books was probably my least favorite. But I did enjoy it. I did like it. It had 2 main characters. It reminded me a little bit of the dynamics that I read in Warrior of the Wild, where there was a lot of debate between like science and magic. There was a prince, and then the other point of view was the goddess, and they their paths crossed like unexpectedly. I liked it. I definitely had to reread the last like 50 pages twice because I felt a little bit confused at the very, very end of the story. Definitely went where I was predicting the story was going to go. They also introduced like a polyamorous relationship at the very, very start of this story that I'm really intrigued by and hope that we get more that fleshed out in like the second half of the series. But I liked it and wound up giving this one 4 stars for review. And then we're gonna get to the books that I didn't read physically. But also during the boss battle reading sprints last night, I also read about 50 pages of Brush by Margaret Wood, and this was because my other book was Heartstopper, and it was a 1-word title. So those are all of like the physical books that I read. Now we're gonna get to the non-physical books that I read. So the non-physical books that I read, the first book that I tackled was The Cursed Carnival, which was edited by Rick Riordan and basically had a bunch of different short stories from like all the different Rick Riordan Presents authors. This actually doesn't come out until September, but here's a photo. Sometimes I struggle with short story collections because I don't always love all the stories, but I really did like most of these. I think some of them were super fun. Also, Rick Riordan did a story where he was like kind of exploring Irish mythology, which he's always been really, really passionate about. So I think I definitely have some of my favorites. Some of the stories I think I definitely need to go back and read the actual book. Like there was like one story from the Stormrunner series that I hadn't finished that series, Sal and Gabby story. I didn't complete that series. So there's a couple of books that I think that if I would have been caught up on those series, it would have made a lot more sense. But some of them were really, really adorable. And Tristan Storm was another one that I hadn't read any of those books. So those stories were a little bit confusing for me. But other than that, I thought it was cute. And overall, I would give it 4 stars, especially if you have read everything and just want to sort of see those characters again. I would definitely recommend it. And then the next book that I picked up was sort of a link from the Cursed Carnival, and that is The Coconut Cake Murder by Hannah Swanson, because they both started with C's in their titles. Here is a photo. Invested in this series. This is like book 27. The one thing I did like about this book is that I was really invested in the mystery because it was about a character that I like and he was accused of murder. They are very, very redundant books. Like they're just very, very repetitive. It's a little bit like not always my style of a mystery, but they're fun. I definitely like the characters more than the mysteries, and I wound up giving this one 3 stars for review. And then the last virtual book that I read was because Under the Never Sky, or The Other Side of the Sky, had 2 characters on the cover. I then read Heartstoppers Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. Here's a photo of that. Last night, and I just read most of this, to be very honest, during reading sprints. But I really did enjoy it. I definitely dived into the more mental health aspect. There was some travel. I like Nick and Charlie, really, really fun. I definitely might break down and get volume 4 from Book Depository because it doesn't come out here until December, and I don't know if I can wait that long, but I am really excited for the Netflix series whenever it comes out. And then after that, I just wound up picking up another book that I had, and this is Fresh by Margaret Wood, and this is like a loosely inspired Emma retelling, but it's set in college, her freshman year in college. And I have liked Margaret Wood for quite a bit. She used to work at Epic Reads, and now she's a published author, so I'm really happy to finally get around to reading her book. I got a copy from a giveaway that I won. But yeah, so that's the end of the Voltron battle. I actually am going to try to be much better at like participating in these events because I fell down I just was not paying attention. I'll be very, very honest. But thank you guys for watching. Comment below how many books you read, and I'll talk to you guys soon for my next reading vlog. Bye, friends.